My name's Lee. I am the husband of Lydia. I'm also the Small Business Center Director at James Brown. Been here for a couple of years, almost a couple of years, but October will be 2 years. I have worked with lots of small businesses for years and really enjoy what I'm doing. And I guess I would start out with a couple of things. I'm not going to have necessarily a business bent, but I'm going to talk a little bit about the business of careers and what I have found to be valuable. Anybody in here would like more money than they presently have? That's not an uncommon response. Let me ask, some of you, if you've heard this, don't say anything. Let's say I've got a job that's going to last for 30 days, and I'll give you a choice of how I'm going to pay you. I'll pay you $100,000 a day for the 30 days, or I'll pay you a penny a day, and I'll double it every day. Which one would you pick and why?
$100,000 a day.
All right, $100,000 a day times 30 days, $3 million. You walked away, or you left $7 million on the table. If I pay you a penny a day and double it, you'll come to about $10.5 million at the end of 30 days. Why would I tell you that? That's kind of cool. I mean, it's mathematical. What it talks about is something called compound interest. You make all your money in your last 2 days. It doubles every day, right? So the first day I give you a penny. The next day I give you 2 pennies. The next day I give you 4 pennies. Well, if you keep doing that over and over and over again, by the time you get to 30 days, it's 5 million on the 29th day. It's 10 million on the 30th day. Why is that important? What's the best way to make money in the U.S.? What's the best way to have wealth, I guess, or to have money?
Yes, you gotta earn it.
Well, you've got to earn it, but if you want to keep it, and and you save, what makes the most difference in whether or not you'll have money in 20 years from now?
Long term?
Long term, you're hitting on it. Time. Time is the #1 way to have money. What does that mean, though? It means I got to start saving now. When you're my age, I'll be 56 in July. If you haven't saved for retirement, it's going to be awfully hard if I want to retire in 10 or even 20 years to have enough money. What's very simple is if I start when I'm 18, 19, 20, 21, 22 years old, and I start putting a little away. And when I say a little, $20 a week. If you do that for 45 years, you'll have a couple $100,000 if it just kind of earns average returns. You don't have to do anything special. So the #1 thing, if you want to have money, is, what's the old saying, when's the best time to plant a tree?
Never heard that one.
Yesterday.
Springtime?
Yesterday is the best time to plant a tree. What's the second best time?
Now?
Now. So when it comes to taking care of your future, it's awful hard as humans for us to think about 20 years from now. I'm not very good at working out. I'm not very good at eating well, because it's not something I want to do right this minute. So these things I have to work on, but it's discipline. But your career is the same way. Is there anybody in here who thinks they might want to open up a small business one day? Okay. When's the best time to start planning for your small business?
You're in school now.
Now. It's never a bad time to start planning. There are some bad times to not plan, but yeah, go ahead and start thinking about what you want to do. Here, do we have from a career planning and placement? I'm sure we do. Has anyone heard of the Strong Interest Inventory, Strong Campbell Interest Inventory?
I'm a little familiar with it.
Okay. And there are bunches of them like it. I just happen to know that one. Have any of y'all taken that? I highly recommend that you take it, or one. They can get you one similar to it. It actually, it's a bunch of fun questions, actually. I would rather do X versus Y, or I like this better than this. And you go through about 100 questions, and what it will do is it will match you up with other folks in certain careers that have those same interests. So all of a sudden it's starting to tell you what you're interested in. It's not saying that it's going to be something you want to do. It's not saying that something that if you don't pick something that you're interested in, that you can't be successful. However, you have a lot more fun when you wake up each morning if you enjoy what you're doing. So if you've never taken an interest inventory, these are things I'm interested in, And then it will tell you all the careers that share those interests, and it'll go, and it's populated with hundreds of thousands of people who share these characteristics, and they found their career helpful. So if you haven't done that, I would certainly do that. How many of y'all know what you want to be when you grow up?
Someone's already up.
I have not grown up yet, ask her. She's working on it.
It's a long process.
I hope I never grow up, personally. I don't think, I've been very fortunate. I graduated high school at North Charleston High School in Johnston County, Kenly, North Carolina. I went off to college and got my degree. I went back 7 years later, got my master's degree, and I've had a chance to teach statistics and business research methods, which I'm sure all of you would be excited about taking, right? Statistics is just it's something that I'm interested in. That strong interest, or that strong Campbell interest inventory helped me understand that math is one of the things I really like. And honestly, when I was in college, when I left high school, I didn't know that you could earn a living as a statistician. What I didn't know is everyone on Wall Street, all their analysts, guess what they are? They're statisticians. I didn't even know these jobs existed. So, have you looked to see what jobs actually exist? Do you know if you want to stay in Duplin County? Have you answered those questions, but have you gone and looked?
Hopefully I'll be in Tennessee,
Tennessee, okay? Do you know what you want to do?
Office of Administration, the doctor's office.
Okay. Who else has a career that they're dying to get into but don't believe they can get into?
I have connections.
There you go. We're gonna talk about that. That's a good thing. Any other job that people would like to have that they don't believe they know about, or have you looked to see if these jobs exist? How many of you like school?
I like socializing, but I don't like doing the work, the homework.
Well, I bet you I can go to that interest inventory and pick out some jobs you'll be really good at. And you know, actually what you said, I like socializing.
You know, like coming
That-
here, getting dressed up, coming here, that part I like.
Okay?
Everything else,
You know,
you can keep. Like your DMAs and all that.
Why are you here?
he's so mean to math.
Guys, if I don't go to school, I can't get good money on a job. I would have to go cashier at Food Line.
Okay.
So I'm here because I want to make more than the minimum wage.
Okay. Do you, couple things that help predict success. How many of you have written down any goals for yourself?
Like a bucket list?
It could be, but that's not really specifically what I'm talking about. There are some things I want to do before I die, but that's not really the criteria. I'm saying in a certain period of time, I want to have achieved certain things.
Yeah, I want to get into nursing before I'm 40. I
Okay?
got 6 years. We good.
Okay. I would suggest to you that it's amazing what happens. You ask people if they know what they want to do and if they have goals and objectives, and almost everybody can tell you, yeah, I kind of know what I want to do, right? But something magical happens when you write it down and you look at it every day. Something very magical happens. And I would suggest to you write, especially, I would write a 30-day goal. I would write a 6-month goal, and I would write a 1-year goal. And if you want to write a 5 or a 10-year one, fine. But that one's not important because it's the 30, the 6-month, and the 1 year that make you achieve the 10 and the 20 and the 30 year. If you write it down, stick it on your bathroom mirror. Look at it every day. Something magical happens when you do that. And what is it? You get busy today, you forget about that 30-day goal. So whether it be eat right, exercise, whatever, and she'll tell you, I don't always do this. Some of these things I'm saying I have learned the harder way because I didn't do it. But from my career, I have always had a set of objectives that I could reach over and pull out. And they never go beyond the current year that I'm in. I want to achieve these things. And that I have done for 30 years, is I know what I want to do, business-wise. But so something magical happens when you look at that. The other one I would guess or ask you, What's the number one obstacle for you achieving what you want to in your career?
Fear.
I might agree with you, actually.
Like you think you won't make it. You
That's the-
doubt yourself.
Let me ask you a question. If they shut the school down, it would become harder for you to get your education, right? There's an obstacle. So what is it about fear that would make us respond the same as if they shut down the school? You know, it is in many ways a internal obstacle we're creating, right?
There'd be a lot of dumb people in this world.
There would be
There
a lot of
are
them.
a lot of dumb people. You put all the schools.
Even my ex-husband.
Even some of the smart people are. Dumb doesn't, dumb comes across a lot of categories. But, and I'm one of them. But no, why would fear keep us from achieving something?
Because a lot of crazy stuff happened in the past few years, like people's getting lockdowns, people's losing their minds, and it's keeping us from succeeding, do what we need to do, and we'll do what we want to do.
So
Like
fear
Virginia
keeps you
Tech.
from trying.
Yeah, keep us from trying, because I was scared to death to come to school, but I got to realize that if things are going to happen.
Can't
I
live in a
did-
bubble.
I don't even want to get out in the middle of the road or go to school when a hurricane or a bad storm, because I knew what happened to me whenever I was pregnant. Like, I was into a ditch. So instead, I've had fear going out, but things we need to do, we got to do to succeed in life.
Is fear a good thing or a bad thing?
It's a good thing. Being too brave, it's not good. So a little bit of fear is good because it keeps you alive.
Maybe that's an unfair question.
Yeah, I guess
Is
that.
fear either good or bad? Or does it serve, I guess it serves a purpose, right?
Yeah, it has its purpose.
It serves a purpose. Well, okay, if fear's the number one thing keeping you from achieving what you want, do you have any skills for getting over that? How do you get past that?
All depends on the type of fear.
Kind of standing up, and believe what you believe in.
How many of you will ask for help when you know you need it?
I do. I have tutors, more than one.
Okay, all right, good. Typically, a good coping mechanism for fear is asking for help. Telling people, I'm not sure I can do this. Now, does that mean you pick anyone? No. Sitting here on campus, you've got people who will be glad to sit down with you, but typically, fear is, the way we overcome it is to first of all, understand it, and typically we come to the conclusion, I know for me, personally, the things that I fear are worse than what they're actually going to be. When I walk through them, I'm going, really? That's
Wasn't
what I
that
was
bad.
afraid of, you know? But you're right, it does hinder us from achieving it. But does it strike anyone that's kind of odd that the number one thing that's keeping me from doing what I want to do is something I'm developing from inside? It would seem to me if that's the only obstacle I have is fear, that I should be pretty successful. So what else keeps us from achieving what we want, or
Procrastination.
what? Procrastination.
That's the number one.
I've become excellent at doing other things, so I don't have to do whatever it is. I get a lot of stuff done because I don't want to do this one thing. So, is there a coping skill for procrastination?
Don't do it. Don't procrastinate.
If
Stop.
it were that
Yes.
easy, I'd already have it taken care of. I can't do what you just said, just go do it.
No.
I know some people who
That's what I
can.
started.
I'm not like
Just
that.
Go do it.
I typically have to reward myself. I have to set little small things, go do them, and then come back to them.
I think I reward myself too much, and my daughter. I mean, she do something right, here's a candy. Or
Yeah.
do my shirt, I'm going to Buckle, I'm going to Victoria's Secret, I'm going to Pizza Place or something. And it's like, okay, maybe I have to put myself, okay, one time a month, or instead every time I do something right.
Have y'all ever heard the saying that there's 4 kinds of things we have to do today?
No, no.
There's things that are urgent and important. In other words, the house is gonna burn down if I don't take care of this right now.
Okay.
There is important, but not urgent. There is urgent, but not important. And then there's not urgent, not important. So everything we've got to do today, we can usually put in one of those four buckets. Anyone take a guess on what we spend most of our time on?
Doing nothing?
The urgent and not important takes 80% of what we do. Bingo. There's your number one issue with procrastination. If you ever have a good sort of clear eye on what's important but not urgent, and you spend some time, I'm not saying all your time, spend some time on those things, two things happen. You have less time on the urgent and the unimportant, but guess what a important but not urgent issue becomes at some point? It becomes urgent and important, right? The more I delay it, it's just gonna move over to I gotta take care of it now. You know, the paper that's due in a month that I don't start until 29 days, you know, some things became urgent and important. But if you'll keep your eye on the important but not urgent, and that can be part of your goals, and you'll write them down, you'll be surprised. You'll find a whole lot of free time to go spend on the not urgent, not important.
Well, I should have learned that 2 days ago because I got a paper that's due at 5 and I'm gonna go home and write it
You too?
down. Yeah.
You don't have much choice. All right, we talked
It's
about,
somewhat written. It needs to be tweaked.
we talked about fear, and we talked about procrastination. What else keeps us from achieving what we're wanting?
TV, Netflix. Does it?
I think
Sometimes,
that can fall under procrastination.
sometimes our family or people who surround themselves around, they say don't do this, it's not cool, and we tend to buy into them, and those holds us down.
How many have friends who are really good at procrastination? How many have friends that are really good at not procrastinating?
Those two?
Who do you spend more time with?
None. Netflix.
Honestly,
What's my point?
That's who you hang around, that affects you.
Yeah, you'll learn something from the folks who don't procrastinate. You will. You'll learn something. You'll find something that's helpful for you. Who believes in first impressions? How hard are they to shake?
I mean, it all depends how day you're having. All depends how your day is. I know people that gave me the wrong impression first day I met them, but then again, it takes time to get to know them. Like, you know what? I judged you. I'm sorry. It really all depends.
Typically, well, first of all, most of the impressions that are made with us every day, we never get a chance to do what you just said. I never get that chance to go back and really learn who you are or get over that. Most of our impressions happen when we're at the grocery store, when we're at the bank, when we're walking across campus, when we're constantly seeing people every day. And we say we don't want to judge, but there's no way to process everything that's going around us if we don't put things in buckets. Otherwise, everything's just a mess in our heads, right? So I have to make some judgment calls about who I'm going to spend time with, where I'm going to go, what I'm going to do. One of the things we do is we're constantly making impressions. Why would I be talking about that? Why is that important?
Well, you can't spend a lot of time with everybody, so you're based on, well,
I was
she looks
actually
mean.
kind of holding a mirror up
Yeah.
towards me. What impression am I making? What impression do I make day in and day out? Why would that be important? You know, getting a job requires what?
Good ethics.
Education, training, whatever it is that you have to do in order to even be considered, right? You gotta do those things. Well, what determines when you sit down for an interview whether you're going to be considered as a candidate they really seriously want to consider versus not? What are the things that are going to drive whether you get the job you're interviewing for?
Where your percentage and everything.
How you talk.
How you act, how you look, how you
dress.
answer. Your cell phone goes off in the middle of a meeting
And then
and
you
it's
answer.
playing something inappropriate. Well, now there's two strikes for you. One is you didn't remember to turn it off when you walked in the meeting, and the second one is it was. Why are impressions so important? Well, they're so important for three reasons. One, I can't shake them. Once I have an impression with someone, unless I get the opportunity to do what you said, spend some time with them and unlearn what I've already assumed about you. Well, if I'm interviewing 20 candidates for a job, how often am I gonna go back to the other 18 that I made some impression with about 20 or 30 minutes in talking with them? I'm not, I can't, you know, most people wouldn't. So think a little bit about, what's a good way to know what your impression is?
Ask, I guess.
Excellent one. People you trust, ask them. Any suggestions or whatever. And why are impressions are so important? Because when you make a good impression, let's give you an example. Go on a job interview. When it's over with, I feel like I did a good job in the interview. I'm kind of, I think I made a good impression. I was able to answer the questions they asked me. I got to ask some other questions that I think they had to think about. And then a few days later, I get a phone call, you're not selected for the job. Okay, what would you do next?
Ask why.
Bingo. If you did make a good impression and you didn't get the job offer, you just got an opportunity that happens in small business all the time. You just got a gift handed to you that doesn't often get handed to us. What's that gift?
Chances?
No.
Criticism?
If I call that person and say, you know, I so enjoyed talking with you, I just heard from HR, I'm not going to get the job, but I'd like to ask you if there was anything in my interview that I could do better or whatever, that person feels indebted to you for what? Why? They feel bad you didn't get the job. And they will bend over backwards to give you information and to help you. You can ask them other things. Do you have any ideas of other jobs in your company or whatever? When someone gives us bad news, no, very few people like to give bad news. They don't. We don't like to tell someone that we've met and we have a good impression of they're not getting something they want. That's not something any of us enjoy. But as that individual who made a good impression, you did a good job, you think, in the interview, you can ask them for help. And that's a great way to build a network. I tell all my small business clients, how many of y'all have seen reviews on a restaurant that are bad and that no one has responded to? When someone reviews you, especially if it's negative, you have an excellent opportunity to walk up to them and say, hey, I'm sorry that this didn't work out, or I'm sorry this wasn't what you wanted. What can I do as a business owner? What can I do to make it better? If you can convert them, you have a customer for life. Well, if you can do that same thing in an interview, someone had to give you bad news and you turn it around and say, thank you. What can I, you know, what could I have done better? What else might you have been looking for? They will provide you with a lot more information than you would think. And you listen to it and you take it and you write it down. And all this is kind of heading me to what I think is one of the most important things, and you kind of touched on it. What's networking mean?
Communication.
Yeah, communication. Do y'all think Snapchat, Instagram, Facebook, is that networking?
Yeah.
Sort of, but it's not the kind of
Social
networking
media.
that I'm talking about. One of the best predictors of your success in your career is how big and how deep, and there are two different things, how to say wide and deep, your network is. If you've worked 10 years at a job and the company's not doing well and they are going to eliminate your position, it can be something that happens to lots of folks. We know folks that happened to. The people who bounce back the fastest, are they the smartest?
Not necessarily.
Are they the most intelligent?
Not all times.
You know what the best predictor is bouncing back fast? It's how wide and deep your network is. What does that mean?
It's not what you know, but who you know.
There you go. Now, you can't become a doctor by networking with everybody in the world. You gotta go to school and, you know, get your degree. So there are things you have to do just to be considered. But there's a lot more you can do after you've reached that point, and networking is important. But since we don't get to spend a lot of time with people, what's the number one thing you can do to improve your ability to network?
Spend more time with it, more time on, away from it.
A good impression. Make a good impression wherever you go. Stop. Ask somebody how they're doing, look them in the eye, shake their hand. You may never encounter them again, doesn't matter, but the way you start building your network is just by talking to people, getting out. And it can be socializing, but one of the things that I would say to all of you as you look at, and everybody in here is on, I'm betting, one or more social media platforms, right? How many of you are within a year of being finished? How many of you have heard of LinkedIn? As you get closer to graduation, you need to think about LinkedIn as a social media platform for your professional life, your career. There are user groups there, and it's a great way to start networking with folks. If you want questions about that, you can see me at the Small Business Center or whatever, but it's a way to get started. And you'll also see who others in the groups that you're interested in. For example, if your degree is in office management, okay, there's a group in LinkedIn for office management. You will start to see opportunities, people in the field, and so it's a great way to start that networking. But I would tell you from personal experience, and it's over a half a century, the best way to begin networking and continuing it is by making a good first impression. And with that, we're about out of time, right?
That's pretty good.
Questions from me? Again, I'm at the Small Business Center. Anyone who's thinking, if you just have an idea for a small business, drop by. We'll set up some time to talk about it. Like I said, there's never a bad time to start planning. There can be some bad times to not have planned, but you know, if you're thinking about it, I can get you some resources anyway. If I can't help you, but I bet I can sit down and help you at least think through it if it's something you want to do.
Maybe I'll be stopping by.
Yep. That's what we're here for.
This was good.
Well, folks, thank you.
Thank you.
Very, very informative.
Miss Lydia?
Yeah, I just want to give you